I started my career as a professional photographer, and as my friends began to get married, I began to shoot their weddings. This afforded me a behind-the-scenes view into the wedding ritual, as well as the ability to interact intimately with the people I was shooting. Knowing the people that I was photographing allowed me to see a change in their character, a shift that someone who was just hired for the day might not have been able to discern. So someone I knew really well ugly cried at their wedding reception because the napkins didn't quite match the flowers. Now, I agree they didn't match perfectly, but it wasn't something I was expecting from this person. The term bridezilla was not in my vocabulary just yet, although it would be soon. At first I thought this was an anomaly, but as I continued to shoot weddings, I saw it again and again. One self-described feminist bride cried because I inquired about her decision to let her father walk her down the aisle and give her away. It just seemed so out of character. Later I'd find out she was experiencing what was known as a bridenity crisis. During the cake cutting at my own wedding, I found myself calculating the amount of calories in a bite of chocolate cake as the fork was approaching my face. I'd later realized that I was suffering from something called briderexia, which is sometimes accompanied by bridalplasty. So, I became really fascinated with the elasticity of what we perceive as normal within the temporary boundaries of ritual activities, specifically the wedding ritual. I'm really interested in how the perfection myths of bridehood, which are propagated by the wedding industry and voluntarily consumed and self-imposed by American brides, affects their experience in the wedding ritual. So I study something that I call perfection hysteria, which describes a bride who's on a quest for perfection, striving to be a perfect bride and have a perfect wedding. So one project I've done called Rebranded Traditions is a photo booth that confronts the viewer with the historical, sometimes problematic historical origins of some wedding traditions that are very popular. So maybe you've had or received or even gushed over an engagement ring. Well, you might not know that that wasn't popular in the US until an excellent marketing campaign after a diamond surplus in 1939. Or maybe you had or were a best man. Well, that was originated from the days when you would hire someone as a hired muscle during the days of marriage by capture. Or maybe you've done something as innocuous as accept a wedding favor. Well, that originates in medieval times where directly following a wedding ceremony, all the wedding guests would rush up and tear the clothes off the bride for good luck. So this, by creating activist wedding art, I'm trying to provoke the viewer to pause and rethink what we define as normal within contemporary American wedding culture. Thank you.